Hey folks, Jackdaw here. At the start of Bloodlines 2, you wake up in Seattle. It's cold, it's nearly Christmas, and you've been sleeping for 100 years. Some call you Phyre, others the Nomad, an elder vampire with a branded mark on your hand, and a Malkavian detective whispering in your head. Neither of you remember how you got here, but the city does. And so this is your spoiler-lite breakdown of Bloodlines 2's Vampire Protagonist. We are going over your role, the clans, the semi-customization available to you, the dialogue, a tiny bit on romance, and of course, the mystery behind the Malkavian living rent-free in your skull. All of this comes directly from the official preview stream, where the devs played the opening 2 hours on hard mode. So if you're trying to figure out who you will become when Bloodlines 2 drops, this is where it begins, so let's stop rabbiting on and let's introduce ourselves to Phyre. Now, you are not some fresh-faced fledgling kindred crawling your way up from the gutter. You're an elder vampire known across continents, remembered by many and feared by most. They used to call you the Nomad. Last seen in Cairo, Egypt, early 1900s. Now, you've woken up in Seattle, 2024. It's winter and it's freezing, and no one was expecting you. Some say the Nomad was a destroyer, others an omen of doom. Through dialogue, you'll define who particularly Phyre was, and who they're becoming. A warrior, a wanderer, a pirate, a survivor who spoiled Napoleon's ambitions. It's all up to you, and it stretches the entire game, not just the intro. Your first choice, however, male or female Phyre. That sets your body and voice, and that's about it for now. You don't get access to the rest of the quote character customization until a little later, once you've reached the Haven. Not that it is especially deep or deserving of the title of character creator, but we'll touch on that later on. You also don't choose your clan here either. That comes after the introduction, once you've had time to settle into Seattle. The devs clearly want you to live in the world a bit before committing to a bloodline. Why they've done it this way, I personally have no idea. I don't really like it, but that's just the way it's paced. In my opinion, both voice options are solid. The devs, however, rather quixotically favour the male-voiced Phyre.
I must have sustenance. I must drink, and deeply.
None of you will survive. I am beyond any power in Seattle.
Now, Phyre's voice is not the only one you will hear. You are not alone. You wake up with a mark on your hand and a voice in your head. That voice belongs to Fabien, a Malkavian detective with no body and no clue how he got inside of you. The devs call him a supportive peach of a sire, or more questionably, a Malkavian daddy. But what actually matters is this: he is your second protagonist. When Phyre sleeps, and yes, you do sleep in this game, even without a time system, you will switch perspective and play as Fabien. The story plays out across 9 nights, and our quote Malkavian daddy has his own part to uncover. Who killed him, why he's stuck inside of you, and what the deal is with the branded hand. He thinks someone has claimed Phyre, bound you. He doesn't know who or why, but he does know a place, an old haven from before everything went wrong. He guides the way there. And so after escaping to Seattle's rooftops, Phyre awakes once more, this time in their new Haven. It's your base of operations, a shadowy neo-noir flat that is tied to Fabien's past. A guy he used to know crashed here. Now it's abandoned, haunted by memory and unfinished cases. You can explore, unlock codex entries, play music, find evidence, even stumble upon a dead cat, which you technically can pet. And it's here where Fabien finally asks, where do you draw a bloodline? bloodline. Now, if you would like a breakdown of the 6 particular clans covering their playstyle, powers, and what may particularly suit you from a personality point of view, be sure to check that video out next. But for now, as a quick recap, we have the Bruja, street brawlers with shockwave punches and rage-fueled dashes. If you want to scrap in the alleyway and leave a crater, start here. Next is Tremere, blood sorcerers who spike enemies from afar and drain them dry with a whisper. Control the battlefield 1 hex at a time. Then Banu Hakim, assassin judges with silent takedowns and shadowy movement. Vanish into darkness, strike without mercy, and disappear again. True Dark Knight energy. Next, Ventrue, silver-tongued tanks who control minds, shrug off hits, and make everyone else do the dirty work. Power, poise, and pure dominance, all in a tailored suit, of course. Next is Toreador, alluring dancers who dash mid-air, charm enemies with a kiss, and turn feeding into an art form. Seduction as a strategy. And lastly, La Sombra, shadow warlocks who teleport, summon void tentacles, and distort reality itself. The darkness isn't safe anymore. Now, even though you choose only one clan, it is possible to unlock all powers from the others later on, but it's not easy. You earn XP from combat, feeding, and exploration, and as stated by the devs in their preview, if you really push it, you can branch out. But they made it very clear you have to put the work in for it. The other thing to note, particularly if you are a hardcore Masquerade fan, because you are branded, your clan curse is suppressed. If you've played the tabletop, V5 or the OG game, you will already know all about clan curses. For example, Ventrue having feeding restrictions. Now in Bloodlines 2, they are still part of the lore, the devs go on to say, and characters will bring it up. But Phyre is in a very weird position. The mark on your hand saps your power as well as your inner beast. This means that you're not going to frenzy randomly on the street just because you're hungry. Now, other vampires might, but you particularly won't. For example, ex-Prince Lou, her Ventrue Bane does come up, as do other clan weaknesses, but you are not bound by them in the usual way. And that plays into the entire mystery of it all. Who did this to you? Why are you in particular different? And what is it costing you? And now, customization in quotes unlocks once you have chosen your clan and have accessed the wardrobe in the Haven. After that, it becomes a tab that you can open anytime in the menu. I say customization, this is semi-customization. You do not get full control over Phyre's entire appearance. There are no face sliders, no sculpting, and no skin tone options. You're working with a defined character and adjusting the details. Hair, eyes, makeup presets, piercings, and outfits. So it's basically a set character like Geralt of Rivia, but with different cosmetic options. So let's break it down. I was initially very excited because there are what looks like around 40 different hairstyle options, though really it's a handful of base styles repeated in different colours. Instead of having like some kind of colour slider to choose between, each hair preset with a colour variant is treated as its own selection, which as a man who loves choosing different hairstyles in video games, I find very disappointing. You will find everything from red and purple to grey, blonde and ginger, with styles ranging from sleek to tousled, and there is a bun hairstyle, but there's no camera rotation, in brackets, yet. So you're kinda just left guessing what the back of this hair actually looks like. The devs hoped that they're gonna add this before launch, but yeah, take that as you will. Then you pick from at least 16 vampiric eye presets, all with a kind of undead, shadowed socket look. Some are glowing, some are more subtle, some are just stark white, giving off an immediate possessed look. Try not breaking the masquerade with those kinds of eyes. Then we get to choose what I can perceive as around 16 what they call face options, but this is really makeup presets. So this is more contouring, scars, blood tears, even sunglasses. Despite the menu's name, you are not actually changing any bone structure, it is all surface level. Then we get basic facial piercings with a wide variety. Nose, lip, brow, ears. The devs hinted at adding more. You can of course mix and match to suit your vibe. And then we get to the outfits tab. Each clan gets a row of outfit presets. In a separate in-game screenshot from Steam, we see a Banu Hakim outfit called the Justicar. And then in the developer's preview, we see a Toreador Phyre wearing a sleek, sharp and wicked olive green leather blazer, a smooth operator aesthetic for our diva. The dev said that clothing affects how people treat you. In places like the Dutchman, which is a Bruja occupied club, showing up in a Ventru suit will absolutely get you side-eyed, and so the city and its people will react to how you present yourself. Despite the semi-customization, and while the dev preview mainly showed a male Phyre and his appearance getting changed, based on this particular preset from another in-game screenshot, you can make a very good looking female Phyre in my opinion. Now the early game is linear by design. You're guided through the basics, meet the prince, play through the opening narrative, get introduced to Seattle. This takes around 3 hours according to the devs. After that, things open up, a moment they internally refer to as the hub break. Technically, the map is open from the start. You can wander off should you want to. But, and it's a big but, characters will notice. You will get dialogue like, "Why are you here? You haven't even met the prince yet." So yes, you can push the boundaries, you can go meet all of the clan trainers, but the world will respond accordingly by locking you out of the content. And then, once you're a few hours in and this hub break hits, you are then free to pick your path. Visit each of the clan trainers, choose which missions you tackle first, and explore different areas of the city in the order that makes more sense to you. The map is layered, with multiple zones and breakout maps across the full game. But even before selecting a clan, Phyre starts with a full kit of traversal and utility tools. You can climb, crouch, dash, glide, and strike from above. You take no fall damage, and you're able to do heavy melee attacks. Scent tracking and dark vision play a key part in the murder mystery mechanics, and telekinesis is a power which is unlocked from the very beginning. It's used for puzzles, lifting weapons, you cannot equip weapons unlike the original game, throwing objects, and of course the most fun one, flinging and grabbing corpses. Tying even further to the murder mystery mechanics of this game, there is a reactive crosshair that is going to guide you through the environment. So whether that's sniffing out trails, interacting with key objects, or subtly pointing you in the right direction when the game isn't holding your hand. And of course, dialogue is one of the biggest parts of this game and how you will continually shape Phyre in every given-to-given interaction. In Bloodlines 2, it's not about picking the quote nice option and being universally liked. That's not going to work here. When you first meet Fabien, you get 3 responses. Who are you? What are you? Get out of my head. The devs picked the last one, get out of my head, and you immediately get a notification saying Fabien was intimidated by that. And so it's a bit like a telltale system. Subtle reactions, but they stick. Every NPC seems to have their own logic. You can't charm your way through every conversation. Some people get annoyed if you ask too many questions. Others will be offended if you don't. You've got to read the room, and sometimes you're gonna get it wrong. Now Fabien knows most of Seattle's kindred, and will occasionally chime in with advice. For example, when you meet Benny, the Bruja sheriff, Fabien warns you straight. Stand up to him or he'll take you apart. Stuff like that helps, but he's not going to hand you a perfect script. The devs also noted that so far, players seem to be quite kind to Fabien. They described being mean to him as kicking a puppy, but apparently being rude to characters like Lou, the ex-prince, is a lot more entertaining. She is gonna actually give it back. And as mentioned before, you are building Phyre's past through dialogue. In one scene in the first hour of the game, Lou recognises you as a toreador and a pirate, which is a dialogue sequence you had with Fabien in Haven. Of course, when other dialogue options regarding Phyre's past come available, you can lie, deflect, or lean into it. That's the entire point. You're not simply reacting in the moment, you are setting expectations, and this game responds to what people think you were as much as what you say now. So yeah, it's not a system you can brute force. What you say matters, and who you say it to, particularly, matters just as much. Which of course, me just in my very nature, being me, we're talking about dialogue here, we're talking about interacting with a wide pool of Seattle's kindred. What about romance? Is that on the table in Bloodlines 2? Well, there is some, but don't expect it to look like your usual RPG setup, as creative director Alex Skidmore put it in a PC Gamer interview. Vampire romance isn't the same as human romance, he said, a little reluctantly. It's more like romantic feeding. Basically, if you've played your cards right, there are moments where you can feed on named vampires in ways that are, quote, intimate. But it's not about spamming the heart icons or picking the most flirty option. Dialogue is fragile in this game, even asking the wrong question can sour a relationship. It all comes down to how you've built Phyre, your choices, your clan, and what other people think about you. In a separate IGN interview, the devs confirmed that yes, there are characters you can get close to. They also implied the voice recording sessions got very intense, and left it at that. So interpret that however you like. I would say that if you are looking for a more seductive build, or you are into romance and you want more of that aspect in this game, play as the Toreador clan. You can literally kiss enemies and feed on blood driven by arousal. There is no subtlety there. But for everybody else, it sounds like romance is more about tension, danger, and blood, rather than anything we mere mortals would perceive as traditionally romantic. So that's Phyre, or at least the version you will start with. An elder with little memory, known as the Nomad, with a voice in your head, a mark on your hand, and a city that knows more about you than you do. And so whatever clan you decide to go with, whatever dialogue decisions you end up making, the choices you make will define who the Nomad was and who might Phyre still become. With that said, I hope this video has helped you feel a little more prepared for your first night out in Seattle. Happy hunting, and of course, best of luck figuring out what the hell happened to you. Seattle is not going to wait. But of course, I have been Jackdaw. You are already in the right place for even more videos on Bloodlines 2 and other fantasy and a few sci-fi RPGs as well. I will see you in the next one. But until then, I should go. Whoa, 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 whoa.